Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Yes, play about it. Yo, guys, Cobra Kai Karate. Welcome back to a brand new video. And guys, today we're going to talk about Daredevil Reborn Again, episode 5 and 6. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm starting to feel like the show is kind of losing its way, if it ever even had one. And this is not really just because of these episodes. If you guys have been watching this, I've been kind of iffy on this. I've been kind of waiting for it to click. And with that Frank Castle scene at the end of episode 4, I was expecting it to dive more into the hardcore themes and the depth of Falky's death and the original characters, the original tones, the more slower pacing, spending our time with just Matt Murdock, growing his character. It did probably the actually objectively polar opposite of what I thought what they're going to do, which I thought was right. And this is not really just because of these episodes. You guys have been watching this. It's been like growing, and I feel like as I've been looking back on the episodes, I'm starting to realize this show's just kind of been, just there. It just hasn't really been spectacular like what the show is. It's there's definitely great moments. There's not even a whole lot of low lights. There's not like a lot of bad moments. It's just exist, and that's not good enough. Maybe good enough for a Disney show, I admit, but for the Daredevil, the greatest thing Marvel's ever done, it just doesn't work with me. So we're gonna get right into this, guys. Obviously, spoiler review. Obviously, I will have a Breaking Bad video coming soon. I am working really hard on that because I'm honestly very conflicted on what I even think about that. But it's me about Walter White. But let's get right into these reviews, starting with episode 5. And to me, this is by far my least favorite of the bunch. It was actually so boring that my little brother, who wanted to watch it with me, walked out of the room. And look, I'm not trying to hate or trying to throw snide comments. He actually did, and he rarely walks out of anything. He didn't even walk out of the first Rocky movie, and that's saying a lot because that movie it's good, obviously, but it's not really action-packed. So I was like, oh wow, because episode 4, it's all about Kingpin. It's about Daredevil, these hardcore themes, finding about vigilantes. They're setting up this new Moose character. The death of this and bringing up emotions and these dark themes. This episode feels like a whole completely new show. Like everything just took a complete pause. It was a full episode of filler that literally did nothing. You could have watched episode 4, right? And they could have just released episode 6 and you wouldn't even notice. That's how stupid it was. And I think that's honestly, you can call me conspiracy theorist, I think that's why they released 2 episodes, because they knew that episode was so impeccably boring that it would not flow on its own, especially coming off the end scene of episode 4, which caused a lot of hype around the show, including myself, which I loved. Okay, it's a whole episode about a bank robbery, and it literally goes nowhere. It goes on way too long, and we're here with Miss Marvel's dad or uncle or grandpa, I don't even know. I didn't really finish that show, to be honest. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And then it just goes back, okay, what was the point of that episode? It was so boring. It was way too stupid. We got these, I don't know, it's like a St. Patrick's Day, because it's not, they didn't even post on St. Patrick's Day. If they would have released on St. Patrick's Day, it might have made a little bit more sense. Didn't even do it on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. That episode, I really didn't understand. It really just messed with the whole momentum it was gaining off of episode 4, getting to the hardcore dark themes. And it's just what the hell? And then you go to episode 6, it doesn't even follow off of whatever it was they're trying to do there. I'm just confused what that whole episode was. I'm gonna give it a 6.3 out of 10. It just really was I'm confused more than I'm just so confused. On to episode 6, the newest one we got. And the same thing. It's just it's the same thing what's been with the whole show. It's not been a lot of bad moments. It just feels like the whole show is just filler, or the whole show setting up something up that is growing a climax, but that does not reach. And it's just okay. The whole episode, outside of the last maybe 5-10 minutes, was really nothing happening. I mean, Kingpin finds out about the vigilante. We see a little bit about Matt Murdock and him talking and the girl walking up to him. Then they get to that down grub place, and the whole build-up of Matt Murdock not wanting to put back on that suit, maybe being traumatized by that suit, maybe all these hardcore motions they could have done of that Daredevil suit. It's just nah, F it, I'm gonna put it back on. He just swings out there with a CGI swing. I'm like, I just don't like how they just breeze past these dark, really deep emotions. More in particular, Foggy. We saw a little bit in the beginning of him doing his prayer, which I still think a religious aspect to the show would bring a whole lot of new vibe to it, because that was really deep in season 3. Of him losing his religion and him losing his belief, and we saw a little bit of that this episode about his faith and stuff. But they don't go deep. They don't go deep in anything. The only thing they've gone deep in this whole entire show was that scene with Frank and Punisher talking. Frank and Daredevil talking. And that was not even built up, because he dies, and then it's a whole year later, and we barely get any mention of him till that moment. And then now this episode, we see a couple prayers, and it's still not holding it back. Matter of fact, he puts that suit on as it's easy as whatever. I know he had to go save her. I know he had to go save that girl. But why did he even... It's just like... It just does not feel like that was set up to where it be. Or it was set up, and it didn't do what it was supposed to. And then Moose, I think he's interesting. I think he's pretty creepy. It comes off. He adds a pretty dark element to the show, but he really didn't do much this episode either, and we really don't know much about him. He was just kind of just there. And the fight I thought was interesting. I thought it was pretty fun, and I did like the last. Like I said, I did like the last moments of Kingpin talking. And look, my thing with this episode is like, it's like these 2 episodes. It's like, I'm not even that upset about these 2 episodes. I'm just upset about the show right now. It just feels like the show has just had so much potential and just does not take action to it. I mean, the whole entire show just feels like skipping past important things. It feels like filler. You know, like right from the bat, you have your main character die, we have not seen for years, and then it's a year time jump with whole new characters. The cop who suddenly knows him now. These side characters get more screen time than him. That one guy yapping about oh, I don't want to go on bail. I want to go to jail, and giving a whole monologue about how he whatever the hell. That guy had more screen time than Karen Page, and I think Frank Castle. Like, I am just like, and Foggy, probably more. I think more than Karen Page and Foggy combined, bro. And we're 6 episodes in. Like, what is this? I just don't know what this show exactly is doing. It's like, it's so in between from the typical boring, stupid, slapstick, Disney show, but it's also trying to play the side of what the actual Netflix MCU Marvel was. And honestly, I think I would rather have them commit to just the Disney slapstick than try to play both sides. Because, people can like hot drinks. People can like cold drinks. Nobody likes lukewarm drinks. That's what I'm kind of feeling with this. It's just been lukewarm on the tones, lukewarm on the commitment. And it's just like, I just feel like if this was just episodes in, like what I was saying before, they're setting it up, I only have a couple episodes left. It feels like this show has just like been running around in circles chasing its own tail. Like, I'm just confused what this show's been doing. I'm gonna give episode 5 a 7. Episode 6, I believe, right? Jesus. Episode 6, I'm gonna give that a 7.4. I'm leaning toward that. Maybe a 7.3. I'm not sure, but I know this review is not the best because I'm kind of rambling about the whole show. But I'm just really frustrated right now. I just feel like the show is just kind of, like I said, like I've been saying, it's just been doing a whole lot of nothing, and it's just like, you cannot do that with this character and these arcs that he could have gone down, and the story you could have gone down, and the themes you could have explored. And I believe we'll get some fun stuff next episode of Punisher and Frank, and I believe they'll have cool stuff. But the potential the show had and what they're actually doing is a huge gap. It's not even one of those instances where it's like they bring it back to the character when they shouldn't have and they're dragging them out. No, it's not even that. They have a lot of potential and they're just tapping it, barely tapping it. And nothing infuriates more when there's potential right in front of my eyes. And I know that, like, if I was in the room, if any competent fan of the Daredevil show was inside the room, they would write something so epic right now in this exact moment, and they just skip past it for something so mediocre. That right there is one of the most frustrating things I can watch, and that's why the show's been frustrating me, and that's why I feel like it's falling apart, and that's why I'm not gonna say I do not like it. I just do not love it, and that is not acceptable for Daredevil, at least to me. So that's kind of my whole rant / review of the episodes. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I feel like this episode really just kind of broke that whole hope in my head that it's going to start clicking very, very soon. That this is just setting up the themes, and the Frank Castle scene that was going to set and put in motion. I didn't know there'd be a whole episode about filler about a bank robbery. I don't know. That's all I really got to say about that. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'm Extreme Measures. Peace out.